Black Mountain Institute at UNLV. They've been around 20 years, and we are celebrating with so many events this year. And on November 18th, you could join comedian Maz Jobrani for a conversation at the UNLV Student Union Theater. He's going to discuss how humor can help us move through the world with BMI City of Asylum fellow and amazing poet Miriam Allah Amjadi. Free tickets are going to go quickly, so you want to visit blackmountaininstitute.org to get yours now. That's blackmountaininstitute.org. Chilly days are here, so take it easy on your landscape watering. The mandatory watering schedule is in effect November through February. You can water grass, plants, and trees, but only one assigned day a week. You know, your grass can thrive with less water during the colder months, and your drip-irrigated plants and trees, well, they could do even better with watering only once every 7 to 14 days. For more winter watering tips and to find your assigned watering day, visit snwa.com. SNWA is a not-for-profit water agency. So what happens when the world ends? And more importantly, would life in a post-apocalyptic Las Vegas be that bad? Today on CityCast Las Vegas, and in honor of the release of Season 2 of the popular Fallout TV series, which happens to be set in Vegas, and the fan celebration for Fallout in Good Springs this weekend, we have a fun conversation with David Rosen of the Piecing It Together podcast and filmmaker Darlene Dalmacita to rank the best and worst apocalypse movies when Vegas is the star in end times cinema. It's Thursday, November 13th. I'm David Figler, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. All right, David and Darlene, welcome to the podcast. And before we get into our lists, lay down some ground rules for me. What is and isn't an apocalypse film? I mean, what are the elements that make a film an apocalypse film?
I'm glad you're starting with this question because I think it's a tough one to kind of nail down because apocalypse means the world ended, but also sometimes it's just a zombie movie and sometimes there's just like lots of buildings burning, but it's like, oh, I guess it's kind of an apocalyptic situation. It's definitely a hard thing to define, and I think our list will show that like there's not really a set answer as far as I'm concerned.
It could be as a result of nuclear war or some kind of natural disaster or man-made disaster that devastates the planet. But there are isolated pockets of people in places where there used to be a lot of people, but they got killed off for whatever reason, and they're all fighting to survive.
Wiped out.
Right. Yeah,
I think it's that fighting for survival moment that, you know, in a more desolate area than what you're used to, right? All the destruction. So let's just get right into our rankings. What is the worst apocalyptic film set in Las Vegas? Darlene, why don't you go first?
Probably the worst apocalyptic film that I know of is one that I was in during the pandemic. I worked with someone on it. It's called Contagion. And basically the premise is that there's a zombie apocalypse that happens as a result of COVID or a COVID-like virus. There was one scene where I'm on a Zoom call with my friend and we're talking about like all these things that are happening that are bizarre, like what happened in real life with toilet paper and all that. And then the power goes out. And at some point, I'm not sure if it's a fever dream or if it was real, but my friend tries to kill me because he's been infected. And but I just felt like my performance didn't work. And so that's why it's my worst pick.
So not coming to a theater near you soon.
You know, we've all had those projects that didn't exactly turn out right. I know I have. Trust me, like half my IMDb is projects that were not executed that properly. But, you know, everybody starts somewhere. So, you know, until my skills improve, my budget improves, and I have to work with who or what I have.
All right, David Rosen, what is the worst apocalyptic film set in Las Vegas, or at least with important scenes in Las Vegas?
Just want to quickly preface this by saying most of these movies are not that great. That's just how it goes with these movies. But I'm going to go with The Stranger from 1995, which stretches the post-apocalyptic thing because I don't think it's ever explicitly stated that it's post-apocalyptic, but we've got roving gangs of bikers in Goldfield, Nevada. That's where it was shot.
Yeah.
It stars mixed martial artist Kathy Long as basically it's High Plains Drifter, but in Nevada and with bikers. She's the hero. Andrew Divoff, who was the evil Jin in the Wishmaster movies, he's the leader of this biker gang, and he's so over the top. And it's terrible, but it's wonderful. It's definitely a very fun, so bad it's good movie and worth checking out. And showcases Goldfield, Nevada. Like, as soon as I watched this movie, I was like, wait a minute, I've been there, I'm pretty sure. And then I looked it up and I'm like, oh yeah, it's Goldfield.
Open yourself up, man. See, now that's it. Let yourself feel it. Now, what am I supposed to feel from the desert?
Fear, man.
Fear.
You're supposed to feel fear, you dig?
I didn't think fear.
Yeah, I love Goldfield. I actually used to do court cases up in Goldfield when I was a lawyer, not a podcaster. All right, my pick for worst apocalyptic film with the Las Vegas scene, at least, is a movie called Damnation Alley. It's from 1977, and it shows Jan Michael Vincent and George Papard. For people who know cheesy scene-eating actors, those two were at the top of their game in the 1970s. It's a nuclear war thing. The bombs have dropped, et cetera, et cetera. They decide to make a cross-country trip in this like tricked-out trailer that is of military grade because they saw a signal in Albany. So they're based out of, like, I think Barstow or somewhere in Southern California. So they decide to stop in Vegas first. And the only thing that remains in Las Vegas after the bombs have all dropped is Circus Circus. Which is very prescient because I do believe that will be anyway. So they stop in Circus Circus. Somehow the lights are still on. And that's like the famous line from that part of the scene where one of the, I think it was Jan Michael Vincent or one of the other actors is like, bomb or no bomb, the lights never go out in Vegas, which is just such a great line. And they find someone who'd been living in the Circus Circus and then they move on. Really, really cool.
And that sounds like a real fun one. I do think Circus Circus and Slots of Fun will be the last thing standing when Vegas goes under. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. What's next on your list? We're moving up, right? So let's go to second place. Darlene, go ahead.
Well, I also saw Blade Runner 2049.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
I thought compared to the original, I was a little underwhelmed by it. I thought it was kind of slow going, but I did like the Vegas part of it. So I figured, like, when you said, well, would apocalyptic Vegas be so bad? Maybe not really. Like they have holographic shows in the lounge, and there's still plenty of booze in there. You know, like, even the dog was drinking booze.
Yeah. So, Darlene, what is Vegas in Blade Runner's apocalyptic future? What's the vibe of the city?
Well, it's all covered in dust. There's really no signs of life left anymore. There's big, ugly statues, which Vegas has plenty of, even in real life.
Sure.
I found it interesting that the Luxor and Paris were preserved, like in the post-apocalyptic future. Like, you know, it's like, oh, well, those are considered like vintage Vegas buildings, I guess, according to the people, you know, like who live in that universe.
Well, pyramids will always be part of ruins, right? So
right,
Sure, perfect. Yeah.
I mean, you have everything there. I mean, as far as like, as long as things are still intact, like food and water and shelter. I mean, why would you not live in a hotel in a post-apocalyptic universe, right? In Vegas.
Yeah, you've got to go somewhere, especially where the booze is. How about you, David? What's your next one up on the list?
Yeah, next one up on the list. I'm going to give a shout out to local filmmakers, Sonny and Michael Nahal, as well as Michael Sue, and their film Bloodthirst. I've worked with these guys before, but Bloodthirst it's basically Mad Max meets From Dusk Till Dawn. It was shot in El Dorado Canyon, Nelson, Nevada, where a lot of these kinds of post-apocalyptic local films get shot. And Tara Reid's in it, Robert Lasorda, and basically vampires and humans are the last people, and they're just at constant war with each other. And it makes perfect use of that whole setting out there. For anyone who's ever been out there to El Dorado Canyon, which is a very fun place to visit, it's as soon as you see it, you're like, oh yeah, they could totally shoot a post-apocalyptic movie here.
Yeah. My next one up on the list is going to be Mars Attacks.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a great Tim Burton film, but it is good enough. A for effort on that one for sure. Some of the scenes of Las Vegas are just remarkable. The aliens just overtaking. And of course, only Tim Burton can make aliens both menacing and cute at the same time. Very Nightmare Before Apocalypse. And the fact that they use like an old school Vegas lounge guy, Slim Whitman, to sing the song that destroys all of the aliens was just genius. I love the fact that they used, even though it wasn't the best footage, the footage of the implosion of the landmark and superimposed a alien vessel destroying it. Very clever conceit, and just everyone sort of running around getting blowed up real good on the Las Vegas Strip was definitely a lot of fun. So Mars Attacks from Tim Burton is definitely an apocalyptic film, although it's just kind of a save humanity from the aliens in the sort of Independence Day milieu.
Yeah.
The super famous, family-friendly sketch comedy group JK Studios is coming to Las Vegas. It's November 15th at 7 p.m. at the UNLV Performing Arts Center. This is the group that started Studio C 12 years ago out of BYU and became an internet sensation. They also brought you the movie Go West and classic sketches like Scott Sterling, The Crayon Song, and Lobster Bisque. Do yourself a favor and check those out on YouTube. Right now, you could use the promo code FAM15 to get 15% off of tickets to their first Las Vegas show. It's the perfect comedy performance for families with kids ages 5 and up, where you'll see hilarious new sketches and a wicked Harry Potter mashup musical that's sure to delight. Visit jkstudios.com to find tickets to their show on November 15th and see all of their upcoming tour dates around the country. What better way to light up your holiday season than with a 50% off admission to the Neon Museum? Yeah, you'll get that at the Mecca of Illumination just by booking in person with your Nevada ID. Half off to explore Vegas history through the glow of vintage neon signs, many of which have been painstakingly and beautifully restored. Just swing by the box office, show your Nevada ID, and you're in. One ticket per valid ID. No promo codes, no online hoops to jump through, just a classic old school locals first deal. And now it's extended through December 31st, so the perfect time to start a new tradition surrounded by glowing vintage Vegas signs. Make it a night with friends, bring visiting family, or finally check that one off your Vegas bucket list. They're also going to be open on Thanksgiving and Christmas this year, so you can experience the magic of Las Vegas history the entire holiday season. So go do it. Visit the Neon Museum and let the lights of old Vegas shine for you.
You know, when most of us want to learn a new language, it's not because we're dying to memorize grammar tables or ace a quiz. It's because we actually want to speak it out in the real world with real people. And that's what Babbel is great at. Getting you there, fast. Hey, it's Michael Ziviak, Chief Revenue Officer here at CityCast. My daughter's a senior in high school, and after graduation, we're taking a father-daughter trip to Spain. And right now, my Spanish is, let's just say, very high school level. Shout out to Senior Patty from Syosset High School. You tried. When we're in Spain, I'd love to do more than just ask where the bathroom is. I want to be able to chat with locals, order tapas, and actually connect, not just read the menu and point. So I'm starting with Babbel. It's all about small steps, big wins, and it's super easy to fit into my life. Honestly, with how busy things get here at CityCast, I love that Babbel's bite-sized, 10-minute lessons fit right into my day, between meetings or over my morning coffee. I'm excited to pick up some real-world Spanish before we go, so we can experience Spain like locals, not tourists. Doesn't that sound better? Right now, Babbel's got a special deal for our listeners. Get up to 55% off your subscription at babbel.com/citycast. That's BABBEL.com/citycast for up to 55% off. Rules and restrictions may apply. Gracias and adios.
David, why don't you hit your next one up?
Sure. I'm actually going to squeeze in one that I haven't seen, but I thought would be such a fun one. I've always wanted to watch this movie. It's called Six String Samurai from 1998. Have you seen it?
I have.
Okay.
It's also not good, but it's very interesting.
Okay.
It's very derivative.
Yeah, sure. And from my understanding, it's this guy who's just kind of going through a post-apocalyptic Vegas, and he wants to be the next Elvis. And so he has to fight his way through to get his way to the Strip and get his, I guess his audition to be that next big performer on the Strip. And it sounds like a blast in that very so bad it's good kind of way.
Yeah, and it's another one of those, everything's covered in dust. In future times, I mean, the Mojave Desert has her revenge on Vegas in a lot of ways, but Vegas does still seem to persist with its iconic buildings, even in their sort of disrepair. Darlene, what's your number one apocalyptic film that is either set or has a major piece in Las Vegas?
Well, there was a movie that came out a few years ago called 2012.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think it had something to do with the Mayan calendar, right? Like the Mayan calendar ends in 2012. It was like
supposed to be
that.
end times, right?
End times. So, I think that for that time period, the visual effects were pretty impressive.
An extremely hazardous ash cloud is headed for the city of Las Vegas. Everyone move indoors immediately. I repeat, an extremely hazardous ash cloud.
Yeah, do you know that film, David?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All those films from that era of 2000s into 2010s disaster epics, they're all so much fun and just big visual effects, blockbuster popcorn entertainment.
Yeah, that one, if I recall, John Cusack's in that one.
Yeah.
And like in so many of these apocalyptic films, just an underdog just trying to save his family. Right? Get through the morass and all roads go through Vegas at some point, right? David, what's your number one Vegas apocalyptic film?
So my number one is a film from 2016 called It Stains the Sands Red. This is...
That's obscure.
Okay, yeah, well, I'm glad I brought it up then, because this is actually from Canadian director Colin Minahan, I believe is how you pronounce it, and produced by Brandon Christensen, who was a Vegas native filmmaker, but moved to Canada and has worked on a whole bunch of really good independent films. But it's basically about a woman who is being pursued by a single zombie through the desert. And it was shot out here, I believe, in Valley of Fire, and... yeah, I mean, she has no resources, nothing to help her, and everything has gone to hell outside of, this little tiny microcosm of the whole planet, where it's just her and a zombie going through the desert, and she has nothing that she can do to stop it. She doesn't have a gun to shoot it in the head or anything like that. She just got to survive.
Interesting. Is that something was it in wide release?
I don't think it was in wide release. It was an independent release in 2016. I remember it got quite a bit of buzz. It might be on Shudder, but don't quote me on that. It's definitely out there to watch.
Now, none of us have mentioned Army of the Dead. Probably the biggest budget apocalypse in Vegas, straight up movie of all time. Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. Not that long ago either. Why are we not talking about it, David?
Because it's not good. I like Zack Snyder. I do not mind his movies. I think that he's got some good movies, but it's just not good at all. And also, by the way, we talked about The Hangover on this podcast, David, and Army of the Dead might be the worst offender of something we talked about on that episode, of where they just restructure the geography of the Strip in ways that make no sense. And as a Vegas local, it's so annoying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's always our pet peeve, even when it's done for artistic benefit, right?
Yeah, not just
exactly.
not just with disaster movies, but any movies. They always get the geography of Vegas wrong.
Look, I think a lot of filmmakers don't have a particular reverence for Las Vegas, which maybe begs the question, why do you think that some of these outrageous apocalyptic films do feature Las Vegas. Like, what's the draw of Las Vegas in the narrative of apocalypse or post-apocalypse?
I think we're just very unique. Like it's this and it's Times Square are kind of like the two best things to show as being devoid of life. Like because they're so full of life normally. And so to take that all out and cover it with dust and no people, like it's such a interesting visual. And also Vegas is just fun. So to kill that fun is that's a really good place to go.
Yeah. Well, and that dovetails perfectly into my number one pick, which is, of course, the various adaptations of Stephen King's The Stand. The Stand was a big old novel, came out in, I think, like 1978. Essentially, and my wife yells at me because whenever I try to summarize a movie, I go way too long. So this is going to be my shorty version. The government or some other bad character makes a virus that gets out into the world. Ooh, that's a little close to home. Kills almost everybody. Some people have natural immunity. But then while all this is happening, spreading across the globe, a dark force emerges. At the same time, a light force emerges, and all the people who are immune are drawn to the light. All the bad folk are drawn to the demon guy. The good folk hole up in Boulder, Colorado, with plans to save the world. And the bad guy decides that his headquarters should be, that's right, Las Vegas. In the 1994 miniseries with Gary Sinise and Molly Ringwald and Rob Lowe, he takes over the bad guy, the demon, basically takes over the Plaza Hotel, and the final confrontation, essentially of good and evil, unfolds on a very well recreated Fremont Street pre-Canopy. And then the whole thing ends. Sorry if you haven't seen The Stand or its 2020 miniseries adaptation on Showtime or read the book that's been out for 40 years. A nuclear bomb that's stolen from Indian Springs is detonated by God himself, or at least some manifestation, and blows Las Vegas and all the baddies up. And that's how it kind of ends. There's a little more twist to it. It's the best. It's just the best. Like, of course, if you're going to have the headquarters for the malevolent forces of post-apocalyptic world, Vegas works. And people are still gambling in the background, which is like my favorite thing, like never mentioned. Like they're still like the world is ending, the virus has killed basically everyone, but people are still gambling. Why not? And that Damnation Alley too, when they find Circus Circus, they can't help themselves. They just keep gambling.
Yeah,
so
maybe that's part of the draw too.
That's a nice detail. That's like the people with the oxygen and the cigarettes, and they're just
100%.
Yeah,
and then The Stand, the remake was more on the strip, but I don't know. I don't think that Vegas is going anywhere as a theme for apocalyptic stuff for a lot of the reasons we mentioned, the stark distinction, et cetera. Is there any sort of apocalyptic theme that you would like to see play out in the backdrop of Las Vegas that hasn't yet?
You mean in real life, or you mean in?
Oh no, God forbid! No, in film.
Well, we kind of sort of had that with the pandemic, like.
I guess art imitating life and life imitating art. Yeah. All right. Well, let me just throw mine out then. There's a novel out there called The Water Knife. It's about water wars that will happen in the future, and basically the water district becomes militarized. The Las Vegas Water Authority becomes militarized, and we have water battles with invading forces from like Phoenix and stuff who want our water. It's the craziest thing. So yeah, I think water wars would be a really good one. Water Knife. Some go adapt that.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to create an apocalypse for cinema set here in town, it just goes back to this conversation I had with a gentleman at Verizon. Like, what if just the whole grid of the everything collapses, like all the technology just fails? Like, what would we do? Like, everybody would be so helpless without their electronic devices, and like something more that could really happen. Look what happened with Amazon, and some of these, like in the past, like Facebook has been down or Twitter's been down or whatever, and people like lose their minds about it. I just feel like something like that, like something more realistic and something that could really happen, like some major satellite fails, and we're just plunged into total despair and darkness. I think that would
People drinking water out of the
enough.
Bellagio fountains to survive.
Right.
Yeah. If the AC went out in the summer, I would look like a zombie if the AC ran out in the summer. So.
Oh, there we go. And that's our
yeah.
end note. So if somebody really wants to make a post-apocalyptic film set in Vegas, just turn off the AC and
Turn off
see
the
what
AC,
happens. Well, yeah. Hey, for our listeners, if we missed any apocalyptic Vegas movie, please let us know. You could send us a quick email over at lasvegas@citycast.fm. And David and Darlene, thanks so much for sharing your insights, and let us hope that art never does become reality. Thanks so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
And that's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. If you enjoyed the show, go tell a friend. You could rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter where all the latest updates on the apocalypse are going to be listed. Don't forget, you could support this show and get some great perks by becoming a CityCast Las Vegas neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Till then, stay lucky.